Welcome, dear viewers, to Whatever You Need, where we dive beyond headlines and uncover the stories that pulse beneath the surface. Before we unravel today's unexpected chapter, don't forget to subscribe, drop a like, and tap the join button to help our community grow stronger. Let's step together into the heart of Paris, where two familiar names may be rediscovering a rhythm they thought they had left behind. There are cities that seem designed to keep secrets. Paris is one of them. Its streets absorb confessions, its evenings shelter half-spoken promises, and its cafes hum with emotions too shy to announce themselves out loud. It was inside this atmosphere, quiet, timeless, guarded, that Cenk Torun and Mahassine Merabet appeared side by side, not as two celebrities posing for curious lenses, but as two people walking as though they had remembered how to breathe in sync again. This wasn't a fleeting moment caught by chance, nor a relic of a long-forgotten connection suddenly resurfacing. Witnesses described an ease, a softness, the type of comfort that is never improvised. Their smiles weren't forced, their steps mirrored one another without effort. They moved like individuals who had made a decision to meet, not simply crossed paths. And once that single set of photos began circulating online, sentiment spread like wildfire. It felt less like news and more like something dormant waking up in public view. According to a close friend, someone who prefers anonymity, someone who has watched them quietly rather than through the glamorized interpretations of tabloids, the trip was carefully chosen. Not for spectacle, not for the press, but because Paris has always belonged to them as a private sanctuary. A place threaded with moments only they understand, where the present slows down enough to converse with the past without demanding answers. From that same source came a sentence from Cenk, short but disarming, Mahassine, we need a conversation that belongs only to us. Words without extravagance, yet carrying the power of doors reopening, of corners swept clean so that something honest might stand in the empty space. It wasn't an invitation for nostalgia, it was a request for clarity. Their first stop was a tiny cafe by the river, its windows gathering fog like watercolor strokes. Patrons noticed nothing unusual at first, until they realized the pair had been sitting there far longer than a casual coffee would require. A waitress, unaware of who they were until much later, remembered how softly they laughed, how long they sat in silence between sentences, and how neither seemed to curate their expressions for the outside world. They behaved like two people rediscovering fluency in a language they used to speak without effort. Then came the moment that sent the internet tumbling toward speculation. Not a kiss, not a dramatic embrace, only a hand intertwined with another, effortless and unguarded. Mahassine reached for Cenk, and he didn't flinch, didn't look around, didn't calculate. The gesture felt too natural to be staged. A tourist's shaky phone footage captured a sliver of this quiet audacity. Over the hum of Parisian traffic, Cenk's voice emerged, let them say what they want. If you're beside me, the rest disappears. That sentence, barely audible, cascaded into trending topics within minutes. But instead of issuing statements or addressing rumors, they responded through images. Mahassine posted a photograph of the Parisian sunset, dipped in gold, accompanied by the whisper of a caption, sometimes the heart remembers the road back. Shortly after, Cenk uploaded a black and white image of the Eiffel Tower, writing only, life occasionally hands us another chance, if we dare to take it. These weren't captions anymore. They were verses traded in plain sight. Witnesses later described how the pair drifted through the Louvre slowly, as if every painting demanded they move gently, the way one handles something fragile. One night at the theater, under the glow of the final act, she rested her head against his shoulder, not for attention, not for display, but because the gesture seemed like the only natural thing to do. During dinner in the Murray district, a waiter noticed they held hands across the table for an unbroken stretch of time. No interruptions. No nervous laughter. Just two hands deciding to stay. Days later, Mahassine left a small flower shop clutching peonies, an otherwise unremarkable purchase. Unless you know that peonies are Cenk's quiet weakness. When a fan asked whether she was happy, she replied with honesty rare in celebrity circles, "I feel at peace." And that's a good beginning. Peace, not excitement. Peace carries intention. Online, detectives of emotion pointed out that the two actors had followed one another again, that Cenk had liked an old photograph of hers from last year, that both had shared posts with matching symbols resembling a star. Tiny breadcrumbs hinting at mutual understanding, like a Morse code visible only to those paying attention. A journalist claimed to have seen them inside a Riverside bookstore. They weren't browsing new releases or celebrity-approved bestsellers. Instead, Cenk lingered over poetry books. He read something under his breath, then turned to her and said softly, "If we start, let's begin at page 1. Not from the middle, not from what broke but clean." The journalist swore. Her expression shifted. Surprise at first, then something gentler, like resolve mixed with vulnerability. Not everyone applauded. Some analysts reminded fans that reconciliation is not a souvenir bought on vacation. They pointed out that love demands more than tenderness captured under romantic lighting. Yet while skeptics picked apart logistics, others sensed a weight has been lifted. Fans wrote messages about second chances earned only after learning how to lose without bitterness. They celebrated the courage of returning to a story not out of desperation but maturity. Rumors continued swirling. Some claimed the pair extended their stay longer than planned. Others whispered about a magazine shoot set against Parisian landmarks, a visual narrative of renewal. Nobody knows yet if those whispers will crystallize into reality. But something has undeniably shifted. So what happens when they return home? Will they walk into a premiere together? Will they offer truth in an interview, or will they prefer a quiet closeness, expressed in glances instead of headlines? Perhaps they will let photographs speak their language. Perhaps they will continue weaving meaning into captions rather than announcements. What Paris gave them wasn't spectacle. It offered reflection. A mirror where they saw who they were when calmness wasn't a luxury but a choice. Maybe this journey is a beginning. Maybe it is a lesson. Maybe it is both. An echo turning into a voice. Before we close today's story here on Whatever You Need, we want to hear from you. Do you believe Cenk and Mahassine are ready to rebuild from the ground up? Are second chances stronger when taken slowly? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your voice fuels this community. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the join button for extra support and exclusive content. Stay tuned because the quiet moments always end up revealing the loudest truths.